Welcome back to TV Anthology Reviews. We will be covering episodes 22 through 24 of Season 1 of Monsters. You can watch all these episodes on imdb.com. Episode 22, Satan in the Suburbs. This story is about Xantippe, great name, a single mother who is struggling with basically everything. The actress Deborah Strang does a great job capturing the hectic and windy day of a poor single mom. She's getting calls from bill collectors, trying to get her child to school, and pursuing her dream of being a writer at the same time. She gets a visit by a devil. Even though the title is Satan in the Suburbs, the devil makes it clear his boss is Lucifer, and he is not the big guy. He wants Xantippe to write his memoir, autobiography, about being a devil. The devil is played by Chris Noth. Chris Noth is best known for being in 41 episodes of the TV show Sex and the City, where he played the character Mr. Big.
Oh, apparently I've slept with every man in Manhattan except the bartender and you.
Are you drunk?
That crazy Samantha. This is the second one written by Jules Selbo in a row. So we are given another G-rated family soap opera episode. This isn't as bad as their other stuff, but that doesn't mean it's good. It seems out of place and is one of the lower rated episodes of the entire season. Luckily, the next episode, Mannequins of Horror, makes up for these last two by going buck wild. Just to remind you what show you are watching. This is a bad idea to put two Jules Selbo episodes in a row. It's not like we had 10 dark horror ones in a row and they need a comedy episode to lighten it up. I like both of the actors in this episode. That almost makes up for the fact that nothing happens the entire time. It's a one-room location where the devil tries to convince her to write his memoir for the entire episode. She is unusually resistant the entire time until the last 3 minutes. It's a story about a devil convincing a struggling writer to write for him. That's the plot. You would think you would get funny devil stories or see him work his devil powers. Do something more besides pay her light bill and give her a new dishwasher. Xantippe is also given devil powers that she doesn't really use. The only monster we really get is Chris Noth in a Halloween mask. It does have a happy ending. Xantippe gets her devil powers taken away, not that she ever really used them, and Chris Noth has the weakest looking angel wings ever known to man. Imagine flying with those. And he gets his memoir, Interview with the Devil. Get it? Like Interview with Vampire. I don't hate the plot, but they don't really do anything with it. You never get to see them bounce ideas back and forth writing the memoir, and you see very little of their powers. Jules Selbo's writing is limited. The episode Taps pulls off a lighter episode better. 4 out of 10. Episode 23, Mannequins of Horror. In an insane asylum, a man named Dr. Collins is obsessed with clay figures and keeps claiming to the doctors and nurses that they are coming alive. We are told that Dr. Collins was a great surgeon during a war but went crazy and is now locked up in a loony bin. One can't help but compare this to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Will we see a Nurse Ratched in this one too? This episode was directed by Ernest Farino, who did visual effects for a lot of Hollywood movies like The Terminator, The Thing, my favorite, Screamers, and of course, the 1999 miniseries with Jon Voight, Noah's Ark. Mannequins of Horror takes a tonal shift towards the end of the episode with an ending scene that is straight horror and is the most graphic of the entire first season. The TV censors must have been asleep on this one. It's easy to see why this is the highest rated episode of season 1. It's well written, and at first, you don't really know who the bad guy is. Dr. Collins does come off crazy, and maybe the actor could have toned it down a bit. But the Asylum Dr. Star is pitch perfect. Collins lets Dr. Star know he will transfer his soul and intellect into the clay figures. He is oblivious of how crazy he sounds. There is some good stop-motion animation that always creeps me out, hitting the unnerving, uncanny valley perfectly. He gets his clay figures taken away. We know the clay figures will come alive, but Collins also comes off as genuinely insane, driven mad by his creations, not just another horror trope of a character trying to convince people that he is not really crazy. Both things are true. Collins is mad, and the clay figures are alive.
In my world, Dr. Jarrett, there is no room for those who cannot fulfill a need, who have no function, who cannot satisfy the intimate demands of the system. Everyone and everything must serve a purpose.
And who decides?
I do.
I don't like your world, Dr. Starr.
You don't like me.
It turns out the Doctor is the bad guy. In the last 5 minutes, they take their time building the tension and fit 2 bloody murders just before the end credits roll. 8 out of 10. This is another one based on a short story by Robert Bloch, the man who wrote Psycho. This short story was published in Weird Tales in 1939. Mannequins of Horror is much better than his other adaptation of this season, Episode 7, The Legacy. The only demerit is Dr. Collins is supposed to be a genius surgeon, but we see no glimpse of that. This is no Hannibal Lecter, who can come off as both mad and smart and cunning. Collins is all mad, and constantly screaming and overacting. The other 2 actors, Dr. Starr and Dr. Jarvis, play their parts perfectly. They have lots of stop-motion animation, and they spread it out through the episode, the budget keeping it from being more than just a few seconds each time, but it's enough, and the mannequins do come off as horrifying. Next up, the last episode of Season 1, La Strega. Episode 24, La Strega, starring Linda Blair, the girl from The Exorcist, as she will always be known. She can star in 50 other movies, she is still going to be the little girl from The Exorcist. This man Vito claims La Strega, Italian for witch, killed his mother by putting a curse on his mother after she tried to trade in her ring to a pawn shop that La Strega used to own. He threatens to kill La Strega, but she turns the tables on him with ease. She holds him hostage and simply screws with him. She gives him 2 weeks to make his decision on whether or not he wants her dead. But this is a mirage. La Strega is in control the entire time, and he never even comes close to killing her. This makes it less a cat and mouse game, since we know from the start, Vito has no chance. It would have been better if sometimes he got the upper hand, but he never does. La Strega is written by the man, the myth, the legend, Michael McDowell. This is not the best episode he has ever written, but it is weird, really weird. It will drive you crazy trying to make sense of the whole thing, as the character Vito is so illogical, I can only chop it up to him being under a spell by the witch Leah. It's good, just don't ask too many questions.
Well, I guess you could have killed me just then, huh?
2 weeks are enough. I always keep my promises. What were you dreaming about?
Your mother and her ring.
What?
My ring, Vittorino. Did you get it?
Mama!
You never listened to me, even my last wish. You never loved me, Vito.
Mama, I do. I love you.
Then keep your promise. Get my ring back, kill that witch. Don't let her trick you.
What was that?
The sound of my heart cracking.
Mama, don't.
The makeup effects of La Strega are great. You never know what is true or false. At the end, we learn that Vito's mother stole a ring from the pawn shop, which is the opposite of what she told him. But who really knows if that is true or not with this roller coaster episode? It ends with, him marrying La Strega. I hope they get a prenup. 6 out of 10. I'm sure Michael McDowell could explain this episode, since it does keep you interested, but everyone who watches it will be scratching their head. Linda Blair is able to seamlessly switch from seductive to terrifying, and is reason enough to watch this episode. Alright, that is the last episode of Season 1 of Monsters. In 2 weeks, I will do a top 10 of the 5 best and 5 worst episodes of Season 1. Then, after that, we will start Season 2 of Monsters. Bye.